Hello, everybody. I am back in the United Kingdom and I am absolutely exhausted. So I am going to keep this very, very short if I possibly can. But I know that I haven't done a live stream in a very long time because I've been so busy over in the United States of America. So I wanted to jump on live before I head to bed, try and catch up on my jet lag, just to say hello and give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. So let's say hello to some of you guys in the chat. Terry Ray, hope your trip was fun. Thank you for joining. Hi, how's it going? Road to Freedom. Oh my God, are you back in the UK and on LA time? I am indeed. It was quite a bumpy flight. It was a very long flight. So I'm absolutely exhausted. I didn't get much sleep. So I'm going to be going to bed very, very soon. I do have to go and work in the morning. So, yes, just a quick one because I thought I'd fill you in because there hasn't been much content from me recently. So that's why we're here. Road to Freedom. I'm staying up a little longer for this one. Thank you. Hello. And there's a couple that I've started that I'm going to talk about as part of the video. Mark the Doors at SP, how's it going, buddy? Thank you for joining. Yes, apologies for the late running. I had to figure something out very briefly before starting this that meant I was 5 minutes late. So sorry. Denver Stevo, how's it going? I just flew home and boy are my arms tired. Yes, it was a very long swim across the Atlantic Ocean. Good to see you. Thank you. One Love 51000. How long is the flight between the USA and England? Well, it depends where in the USA you're going. I flew from London to LAX, Los Angeles, and on the way there, it was like 11 and a half hours. And the way back, I think, was 9.5 or 10 because we got caught with the jet stream, which was great, although it was a little bit bumpy. The East Coast, like New York, somewhere like that, is a lot shorter. That's from memory about a 6-hour flight. But it's been a while since I did that. So yeah, it was my first time on the West Coast. I have not been to LA or anywhere over there before. I've been to the East. I've done Atlanta. I've done New York, Miami, Pittsburgh. I've done a lot of stuff in the East. So it's actually really nice that this opportunity came up for me to go to the West Coast and for the first time in my life stick my feet in the Pacific Ocean, which I must say is very much like the Atlantic Ocean, but nonetheless, it was cool. So let's start with a couple of things that I want to share with you, and then I'm starring some of your comments that we'll go through. Number one, now you may or may not have seen this. This is a sort of teaser video that I put out the other day, which I'm going to play in a second. It's only 49 seconds long. I went to the US because I am working on a special project that I've been teasing you guys about for a long time. And for those of you who have supported my channel by buying me a coffee, there's a link down below if you guys want to do that. Because YouTube takes 30% of the money from super chats. So buy me a coffee, I get a larger percentage. The best way to support the channel. So for those of you who have supported financially in that way, I've been giving a few exclusive, I would say, updates throughout my journey in and around the US. Now, I don't believe in kind of excluding people because of money or financial reasons. I really want to make sure my content is free and available for everybody. So all of that content will eventually go up on my channel for everybody else to see, so that you don't have to pay to see my stuff. But I wanted to give a little perk to say thank you to those of you who supported the channel. So if you bought me a coffee, go and check out buymeacoffee.com/apostatealex and go to posts, and you can see some of the updates, some videos, and a few text updates too that I've been putting out over the last couple of weeks. And if you're not on Buy Me a Coffee, that's absolutely fine. You'll just have to sit tight. Now, I can't say too much about this project because it's still ongoing, and I want to set some expectations. It's not a quick or short project. It is a long-term project that I've been working on for several months already and will continue to work on for several months more. So you're not going to find out exactly what it is for some time. But I can share some little bits and bobs of what I've been doing with you, and I will do that now. So I hope you are okay with a bit of a mystery sandwich. However, it's for good reason, and I think you guys will be happy when it does come to the point where I can share more. It is my most ambitious project yet, and I've been working really hard on it, and I can't wait to share it with you when the time comes. So good things always worth waiting for. So then that's my excuse that I'm giving you. So let me show you this little teaser of one of the things that I was up to while I was in the States. This is a video on my channel called Poking the Scientology Bear, California, US. Let me just double check that I've shared it in the right way so you can hear the video, because you guys want to do that. Share sound. Yes, perfect. Okay, so let's watch this if you guys haven't seen it already. And sorry to those of you who have, it's only short, 49 seconds. Let's go. But just hold back a little bit because we want to try and lose her. It's totally following us. Oh, are we...
You're trespassing. You need to leave.
Is it possible to have a look
You're
around?
trespassing. You need to leave.
So, little bit of a teaser. I know it's not much. However, I wanted to share that with you of some of the stuff I have been doing with my camera and poking the bear. Those of you who have been following Scientology content on YouTube and Leah Remini in the Aftermath show and Going Clear and all of the other stuff that's been going on for years, you will probably recognize some of the places that are in that video that I visited while I was in California. We were followed, and there was a car tailing us, and we certainly did poke the bear, which was the intention for this project. And for that reason, I had to fly kind of under the radar. I didn't tell anybody that I was going to LA. I announced that I was going to the Portland Safe Conference that happened while I was in the US, but I didn't tell anyone I was going to LA beforehand. And essentially, this is what my trip looked like. I'm going to share my screen here, and I'll show you some of the pictures that I took. So first off is good old Captain Davy of the Fake Space Navy took a ride on the Virgin Atlantic aircraft. In fact, he is the captain of the Fake Space Navy, not a pilot. So luckily the pilots were flying it and didn't let him anywhere near the controls, but he very much did enjoy sitting there in the cockpit in this aircraft. And this was a lot of fun to get this picture. We were talking to the air stewards and stewardesses, and we were talking about how we love flying, and the captains were really cool. And after we landed, they let us go in and get this picture, and I explained the story behind Captain Davy, and they both laughed and enjoyed that story. They were both actually ex-military, Air Force pilots that have now moved into commercial flights. And so they thought it was mildly amusing and were more than happy to help me get this picture. So yes, Captain Davy of the Boeing 787. So that was my arrival in LA, and very promptly I made sure to go and visit the beach, where I wrote a message in the sand, which I think is pretty clear. For those of you who are struggling to see that for whatever reason, I just want to clarify, it says fuck Scientology, because that's what we're here to do, is try and stop the abuse that's going on in Scientology and raise awareness that people are being harmed by this dangerous group. And that is what motivates and drives me in everything that I do here on this channel and with my blog Scientology Business. So I wanted to arrive in LA in style and did this almost immediately. Then I met up with Tony Ortega, the journalist, and Mark Ebner, who is I think it's a New York Times bestseller, and he's covered Scientology before. He's a very well-renowned journalist, and he came to meet up. Tony was actually in the area for something else, and it just coincided with my visit. And he took this picture of us at the House of Pies, which I understand is quite a famous restaurant. It's very cool, Art Deco, original 1950s stuff. And so I just wanted to show this to you guys so you can see I very much was in LA, and this is a picture of me. We did a video, me and Tony Ortega, and that was quite funny. If you go on his channel or look on his blog, you can see it's only very short. He just wanted to catch up with me and say hello. This is the thing that I think is one of the highlights of my whole trip to the United States. Was I've been speaking out for just over a year, and in that year, I've built relationships, I've met people, I've been watching videos of all these creators on YouTube, and I've been reading up a lot, and I've been researching and learning a lot more about what happened to me and how Scientology is operating. But what was fantastic was the opportunity to actually meet these people in the real world, in the flesh, for the first time. So it was very funny meeting people for the first time, but having known them for a year or so. So that was pretty cool. There was a moment where Tony and I parked up in Griffith Park to record this video interview, and we walked into the woods. Tony was like, let's find a space that's fairly quiet and we can take this video. And I said, Tony, you do realize that without perspective, this looks really dodgy. I've just met a random guy for the first time, and 10 minutes later he's leading me into the woods alone with nobody else. Surely I should be nervous about this. And then we came out 10 minutes later, which must have been hilarious for anyone watching on the sidewalk to see two men walk into the woods and then 10 minutes later come back. So yeah, we had a bit of fun. It was good to kind of meet Tony and so many other people in person. And I think I shared that on my community page, but if I haven't, I will do that after this. Okay, let's look at some more. I was in LA for about 3 or 4 days, and then I flew up to Portland for the SAFE conference, where we took this picture. I did mention this on a video the other day, and I did a little update for my coffee members about what the SAFE conference is all about, so I won't talk too much about it now. And I am going to do an in-depth video at a later stage about this particular day. It was a conference for ex-cult members and survivors and psychologists and counselors and therapists and mental health professionals to get together and listen to people speak. There was a number of panel discussions and talks about healing from cults, and there were a couple of talks about Scientology. It was really, really insightful. It was educational, and for me, it was the first time I've ever sat in a room with a bunch of ex-Scientologists, because up until this point, the only ex-Scientologist I'd ever met was Kelly Copter. We met up for a couple of beers about a year ago here in London, and at the IES event, where a number of people like Stephen Jones and Martin Padfield, who are very well-known ex-Scientologists here in the UK, came to protest, and so I've met them. But we're talking a handful, 1 or 2 people. So this is the first time I was in a room, or in this picture we're sat outside with a large number of them, and it was very healing. Yeah, One Love has got it right here. Healing, I'm sure. It really felt like a really nice sense of community. We put our differences aside for a couple of hours, and we were just talking about like food and garbage disposal and, just general life in Portland. So you can see Jeff Beaumont, my buddy from Canada, PTS for life. Nora was there. And then there's a couple of people here who I can't remember their names, but the first time meeting them. Obviously, you've got myself, Catherine Olson, Liz Gale, Gary Jackson Moorhead, and Jefferson Hawkins. Chris Shelton was there as well, but he wasn't there for this picture. So it was just really lovely to sit and heal together. We learned a lot about how cults and coercive groups work and how they operate. And the whole day wasn't specifically about Scientology. There were 1 or 2 things specifically about it, but it was nice to just be around people who have shared similar experiences from around the world, and talk about those things and meet these people who I've not met before. So that was a real good time. It was a lovely day of healing and a lot of stuff to process that I kind of still haven't really done because I've been so busy on the go in America. This is a picture that I managed to take inside the conference. Now, privacy was really important because there are a lot of people under the radar that attended this conference, and not just under the radar Scientology, but also other cults. And so there were really strict precautions in place in terms of taking photographs and such. So we couldn't, I tried to cut out people's faces and blur them out. So that's why you can't see everybody. The guy here, you can see his face. That was fine. He was wearing a green sticker, which meant he was okay with his photo being taken. And he's one of the panel. I think it was a panel discussion. He was one of the speakers. Well, I think there were two speakers of this particular one. He was one of the speakers giving this lecture about the power and control mechanisms of cults. So I just wanted to give you a visual of what it was like inside the conference. There were about 100 attendees, which was huge. When I signed up to go, I thought it was going to be 20 people or so because it's a regular group that meet in Portland, but this is kind of a bigger event, and yeah, there are 100 people. I signed up to go because I was already going to be in America anyway, in LA, and I thought Portland's only like a 2.5 hour flight. Why not jump on there and go and support my buddy Jeff Beaumont, PTS for life, because he was on one of the panel discussions, and I get the opportunity to meet these people that were there. So I jumped on it, I went up, and it was great, and I was there for a couple of days. In fact, there's a comment here. Christian B says, "How was the reunion with PTS?" Yeah, I'm guessing you mean Jeff here, PTS for life. It was great. Jeff is a good buddy of mine. We keep in touch fairly regularly. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, he's a Canadian ex-Scientologist that came to stay with me during the IS protest in November. We formed quite a close bond. And yeah, Haggis Basher, Jeff is awesome sauce. Yeah, he's a lovely guy and he's putting out some great content. So go and subscribe to Jeff Beaumont if you haven't already. I'll put the link to his channel after this video finishes in the description. PTS for Life is his name on YouTube. So while I was in Portland, I couldn't help but go and see the org, and this is a photo that I took of it. By the time we got there, the org was closed. It was Dianetics Day event, so there were just closing down after that, and there were only a handful of people there, so we didn't protest. And unfortunately, I missed the protest the next day because I wanted to go, but ended up being quite pushed for time because I had to get a plane back to LA, and it didn't quite work out, unfortunately. But I was there and I did film. I wasn't live streaming, but I will share some of that video footage with you at some point where I look into the org and explain what you're seeing, and you can see inside the org and some people. So that's content that's still to come. And Harter on fire. Hello from California, Central Valley. I met up with Ann Harter as well while I was in LA. That was awesome. Ann Harter has been a huge supporter of my channel for a very long time. And it was really nice to meet, again, another person in the real world that I haven't met before, but have had a relationship with for some time. And Ann Harter here says, Jeff PTS introduced the stick of truth. Yes, true. I love the stick of truth. For those of you who don't know, Jeff has a stick that he has his camera on or his phone when he's live streaming. And the idea actually came, it started at the IS protest in November because there are a bunch of people standing with umbrellas to try and obscure our view of the opening of the new qualifications building at St. Hill. And I had a stick, like a selfie stick, and I was joking around. I was like, guys, your tactic doesn't work because I can defeat this with a simple stick and I can just hold the camera above the umbrellas and see everything. And Jeff had a much bigger stick than me. He had one that's like a telescopic thing, and he put his camera up way up high and we got a really good view. And he has taken that to all of his protests, and it's now called the stick of truth, which I love. So yeah, he's got some great stuff going on, and it's a really funny thing for me to defeat Scientology with a simple stick and simple mathematics, which is what I'm doing on the Scientology business site. Which is my blog looking at like finances and that sort of thing. Catherine Orson's here. It was really fun to hang out with you, Alex. I liked showing you Oregon. Thank you. Yes, I loved Oregon too. It was a very peaceful place and beautiful city, and I can't wait to meet again and go there again. So after I came back from Portland, which was, I'm just putting my phone on mute so that it doesn't vibrate. So I was in Portland for the weekend, and then I went back to LA and continued this special project that I've been working on. And I was meeting lots of people who, again, I've not met before, and it was great to do that. And I was there for another 3 or 4 days, and then I flew over to Vegas. So Mark Fisher and Janice Gillum Grady have their channel, Our Scientology Stories Peeling the Onion. Again, I'll put a link in the description afterwards. And Janice very kindly hosted me in her lovely home for a couple of days. And Mark was the chauffeur, driving me around, and he showed me around Vegas. And we did a live stream together. This is a thumbnail. Go and check it out on their channel or on my channel. And we just talk about what we've been up to and what the trip was like. And Vegas was so cool. Again, I've never been there before. A city built on entertainment, which is cool to see. And I am very ginger and very pale, so the desert is not what I'm built for. But I managed, and I do actually have a tan. You probably can't see this because I'm pale anyway, but my natural body color is a lot lighter than my face. So this is tanned for a ginger, which I'm impressed about. With my skincare routine of spraying lots and lots of sun lotion on myself every single day. But it was really hot. I went to Janice's sister's ranch to feed their horses, and that was lovely, and see a different part of the world. So yes, Vegas was fantastic. And then I went back to LA again for a few days before coming home earlier today. And while I was in LA, we went out to visit Gold. Here is Captain Davy of the Fake Space Navy outside the Golden Era Productions sign you can see in the background there, which is where some of that video that I showed earlier was filmed. And that was hilarious because within moments of walking up to the security booth, they were shouting at me through the intercom, "You're trespassing, this is private property, get off, we're going to call the cops." And they were super, super aggressive. And we did indeed get followed. It was a very creepy and weird place. Gold, for me, this first time I've ever been to Gold. I've heard so much about it. Of course, it's where the hole was. A lot of abuse and suffering happened on that property. And although a lot of Gold has been shut down and moved to the new Scientology Media Productions facility in LA, there is still some activity on the site, and it's quite famous in terms of the Scientology world. So it was very eerie going there, knowing that this is a place that was and probably still is a place where a lot of people were hurt. And it's kind of the epicenter of where a lot of this harmful stuff that goes on in Scientology and Dave Miscavige's inner circle goes on. So it was weird to be there in person and see the razor wire fence and the motion sensors. And the security on that site. You know, we drove past and we had like a camera out the window, and we saw 2 or 3 security guards in their little security box. And we did a U-turn and we came back, by which point the blinds were shut, which means they are watching every single car that comes past to see if anyone's filming or going to present a threat to the property in terms of PR or filming or whatever, not a physical threat. I wasn't going to do anything physical, but before we even got there, they'd closed the blinds because they knew that we were coming for them, and they made sure that we didn't see their faces. So that was interesting. And then we went off and did something else, and we came back and the blinds were open again, and I waved out the window at them as we drove past, and I actually got a wave back, which I didn't expect. So I will try and dig out the video of that, and I will share that with you too. But ultimately, strange experience. So yes, this is Captain Davy at Gold. I also met up with Mitch Brisker and Jeff Levin, who are great at what they do. You know, Jeff did all the films for Scientology, you know, the commercials and that sort of thing. Jeff Levin is a musician. He was in the band People, and he lives a little bit further out of LA, but I wanted to make sure I got the chance to meet him. So again, another opportunity to meet people in the real world, which was fantastic, I think. So yes, I have been a busy boy, and there's lots of stuff that I did that I'm not sharing just yet, but I will do when I'm not so exhausted. Sweet Liberty is gold where Mark escaped from on a motorcycle. Yes, and where Valerie Haney had to escape out, or is it Valeska Paris? Sorry, Valeska Paris escaped out of the boot of a car, the trunk. She had to hide in an actor's car to leave. Yeah, razor wired fence around an organization that touts a road to freedom. Exactly. Yes, it's hugely hypocritical that they say Scientology allows you to be free and it doesn't it doesn't trap people or imprison people, but it very much is a prison. It's in the middle of nowhere in a desert. If someone wanted to leave and they managed to get over the razor wire fence, there'd be nowhere for them to go. It's very much a prison. And let's not forget the prison of the mind as well that's going on for all the people there. So yes, I'm glad I had the opportunity to go and see it in the flesh. And obviously, you noticed in the video that I played earlier, I went to another location that I am not seeing anybody mentioning in the live chat. So if you know where that other property is, put it in the live chat. Let me know if you recognize it, the other place that was in that video. Otherwise, I will keep it a mystery for those of you who don't know. So yes, Sweet Liberty. Hi, I'm dying to hear what happened in the mountains after the little clip you showed. Yes, so the mountains is this other property I was telling you about. And again, it was very interesting and creepy. It's a location that is out in the sticks. It's another hour. So Gold is like an hour and 45 minutes, 2-hour drive from LA. And then this other location is another hour and a half away. It's not close. And again, it's very remote. And this is the property where it's believed Shelley Miscavige is kept. Whether it's against her will or not, we don't know. But it's believed she's working there at this base. And yes, you're right, Twin Peaks, exactly. So yes, we went up there just to have a look around. And of course, no one answered the intercom. It was completely dead and silent. There were some cars parked outside that we saw. So I took some pictures of those and I'll be sharing those in due course to see if anyone out there can tell us if they recognize them. And there was a camera that was hilarious. That was, you know, the cameras that you get that can move electronically. There was a camera that was following my every move, and it was so obvious because it was turning around and then I went the other way and it turned back, so it was following me. So we had a little bit of fun with that, which was hilarious. And again, we got footage of it, so I'll share that with you soon. Yeah, where Shelley's believed to be, exactly. And then yes, went back to LA and again met some really cool people. I met Tori Chrisman. We didn't manage to get a video together, but we're going to do a live at some point. I think she's awesome. She's a really lovely person, and I think I've just really enjoyed learning more about what life was like in Scientology before I joined, because Scientology on the ship with L. Ron Hubbard and those days in the 50s and 60s and 70s is very different to Scientology today. And I just loved the opportunity to speak to a lot of people like Janice Gillum Grady, for example, who was there on the ship with Hubbard, and hearing about what it was like then and comparing those experiences with their later time in Scientology and my experience, because I'm trying to educate myself on the history of this organization that's not the history that Scientology tell. Barefaced Messiah by Russell Miller is a great book that talks about Hubbard's life. I would recommend you go and get that. So yeah, it was an opportunity to meet people, but also learn about how Scientology has changed over time. So let's go through some more questions. I do have another video clip that I'm going to share with you shortly. If you have questions for me, please stick them in the chat and we'll go through them before I wrap up to go to bed. One love, Alex is on fire with this project. Thank you. I hope that you guys aren't getting frustrated with the teasers. I probably will stop talking about it so much soon because it's going to be many more months before I can share it with you. And this is just something that was very linked to my time in LA. So I just wanted to share a little bit, but I don't want to keep dangling the carrot and not telling you information. So just know it's one of many projects I'm working on, and I consider it to be my most ambitious project yet. It's huge, in my opinion, and is something that when I say huge, I don't mean huge like on an international scale. I mean huge in terms of in comparison to my videos that I do on YouTube and my articles on Scientology business, which are, something that's quite easy for me to do. This is huge in terms of it's a step up for me. I'm challenging myself. I'm doing something a little bit differently and a little bit bigger. And so it's huge in comparison to my normal content. That's what I meant by that. So yes, looking forward to that, but I'll stop dangling the carrot because you guys will just get annoyed. Um, One Love. I've never been to the West Coast and I live here in the USA. Well, you should go and check it out. I love it. I love it there in the West Coast. It's a really lovely part of the world. I also met up with Karen de la Carriere and Jeffrey Augustine. I said Mitch Briscoe already, and a host of other people. And they were all very lovely and hospitable. Michelle, I love how you are so comfortable relating your tale, and Captain David's photo in the cockpit is wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I try and share my experience, but I think mostly my channel is about other people's experiences and the activism that I have been doing here in the UK. Obviously, I don't live in the US, so I'm not an activist over there, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes. That's very much a market, if you want to use that term, that is being covered. So I didn't go out there to protest, but I almost did, which is something I'll talk about in a second. But let's get through some of these first. Mark P, any update on UK looking into COS finances? Yes. If you go to Scientologybusiness.com, which is my blog, I've been looking into their finances, their operations, legal things that are going on, and all of their activities here in the UK and in Europe. So go and check that out if you haven't already. I haven't written an article for a little while because I've been so busy in LA. It wasn't a vacation or holiday. Well, it kind of was, but I only had a couple of hours on a couple of days to enjoy myself. The rest of the time I was fully trying to get stuff done on this project. So I didn't really have the time, and that's why I didn't do many live streams. So there is some stuff in the works on the UK finances. Keep your eyes on Scientology Business. What I normally do is write the article, publish it, and then do a video about it. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled as I bring that info to you guys. Sweet Liberty, we know that you're working hard behind the scenes and we thank you for it. Well, thank you for your support. And it's not something that I can do on my own. I'm very much here with a part of a community. There's a lot of people supporting, and we're all playing a part and a role in this activism work. I'm not doing it on my own. I'm not the only person. I just share what I'm doing on YouTube. And yeah, like I've always said, the majority of this work that I'm doing in terms of the activism happens behind the scenes because I'm not here to make content about, what other people are doing or reactions or commentary and that sort of stuff. There's a place for that, absolutely. But I'm very clear with my channel being about what I'm doing, the activism, and sharing people's stories. So that's why quite often I'm spending several days full time basically on this activism work behind the scenes with stuff I can't share yet, meeting with politicians like Diane Abbott, which I've covered previously, trying to get Scientology investigated by the tax office here in the UK, and Narcanon, which is currently under investigation here, and meeting with journalists and working on stories that take time to investigate and doing that work as well. And that's all stuff that will come out eventually, and I do keep you guys updated on. But yeah, most of the stuff I'm doing is not on YouTube because I'm not here to be a YouTuber. I'm just using this as a platform to share what I'm doing. But yes, thank you for your kind comment, and thank you for all of your support and allowing me to do this. As I said, as I always say, the best way of supporting the channel is giving it a like, leaving a comment down below once the live stream finishes, sharing it with people on social media, because that helps get the message out to more people, and hopefully more people will be helped by the shared growth of all these channels on YouTube talking about Scientology. You can also support me in doing this work by buying me a coffee. That really helps me cover the expenses of doing this activism stuff. So I would appreciate your support in that too. I've also got like an Amazon wish list and PayPal and all that stuff if you prefer. But I'm not doing this for the money. The money just helps cover the expenses, you know, like StreamYard is really expensive, photo editing software, hosting and protection of the website. Scientology business they try to hack into it 1,000 times every single day. So I have to have enhanced security for that. And those things aren't cheap. So yeah, all the money that I'm getting from Buy Me a Coffee is just going towards supporting this work and the channel. So yes. JMac, I think this was from earlier. Love you. Enjoy your adventures. Can't wait to hear about what you've been up to. Thank you. Yes, and hopefully I covered some of it here, and there will be more. I'm knackered, so I'm going at a speed of knots here, so I can share more another time. Christian B. Jeff has a much bigger stick of truth. He does have a much bigger stick of truth than me. Mine's only little. But it's not how big it is, it's what you do with it that matters. And as long as you're holding it above their little umbrellas and getting a bird's eye view, that's what matters. Road to Freedom. Do you have a recommended reading book list on Amazon we can buy through? No, I don't. I mean, I have some books on my wish list if you were looking to buy a book for me to read, but I don't have a published list of books that I've read that I recommend other people to read about Scientology and cult recovery and stuff. But that's a really good idea. So maybe I will do that and share things that have helped me with my experience and recovery. So great idea. Thanks, Road to Freedom. I will do that. Learning about life. You are an incredible warrior making a difference. You are very cute when you're fuzzy, sleepy. Sleep well tonight. Thank you. Yes, I'm not sick, but I'm a little bit, I don't know, my voice is weird because there's lots of air conditioning in the US that we don't have in the UK because it never gets warm enough. And being on a plane for like 10, 11 hours has done something weird to my voice. So yeah, please excuse if I'm a bit croaky or not my normal self. But I will be back to it soon. Road to Freedom. Oh, stupid adverts. I'm missing your answer to my question. Sorry, you can rewind 5-10 seconds and catch up on it. Fluffy Wicket, so glad you got to meet so many great people. Yes, me too. You know, this is the main thing, is that we are stronger together as a community and we work we're stronger together and we've got to help each other. You know, there's always disagreements and people aren't going to like each other and we don't all have to be friends, but we can support each other and help each other out where needed. And that community thing is really important. And I think that promotes people speaking out, and it shows that we have a community of support here for people who want to leave Scientology. So yes, I agree. Now, something I do want to cover, because I want to correct the record a little bit, because there's been a lot of stuff flying around recently about something that happened on my trip to LA. The days are all blurred for me. Was it yesterday or the day before? Either way, we were filming outside the pack base, the big blue buildings in LA, and we bumped into Confident Chris and Solomon, who are two live streamers that are protesting outside Scientology every single day. And we were busy working on this project, filming some stuff, so we didn't stop for too long. And there's been a number of videos made about it and lots of commentary, with people saying that I was rude and Mitch was rude. And I'm not going to get into a debate about other people's behavior because that's not what I'm here for. But what I do want to do is just correct the record in something about me and how I perceived that interaction with Confident Chris. Hey, Mark and Janice. Hi, Alex. Las Vegas misses you. And I miss Las Vegas as well. The weather was so good. Okay, so this is a video on a channel called SPTV Fans. Now, like I said, I'm not the channel that's going to comment on other people's excuse me. I'm not going to do reaction videos to other people's content. That's not what I'm here for. But this is something that I am going to comment on because I want to correct the record on it. So let's just play this very short video where this person shares the stream from Confident Chris and has a little talk over it. So I just want to clarify something. So let's watch it.
Not the camera crew. How's it going? What y'all documenting? Pretty good? How y'all doing? Y'all documenting Scientology or?
Yeah, 100%.
We'll do the same thing. We're here every day, man.
I watch you guys on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
You guys do some
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Hi everyone.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, just this way.
I'm not live streaming because I've just run out of battery, but otherwise it would be.
Thanks, mate.
All right. That's good. Keep it up. What's going on over here? Those are X's. Oh, okay.
Where's everyone else? There's only a bunch of you.
Everyone's coming today.
Okay, cool.
I'm probably heading out in a little bit, but
When I charge my phone, I get back. I'll come back. I've texted her, so she's going to come down.
oh, okay.
If we come down,
All right. Those are ex members. Yeah. Look how he's doing. What in the royal family is this?
gone. Here I am. Hi. So that was the clip from Confident Chris's stream. And someone did a video. I can't remember which creator it was, but someone did a video where they were talking over this commentary over it, saying that I have that I'm against the protesters and I've publicly spoken out against Confident Chris and other people before, and that's just simply not true. I haven't really talked about the LA protests on my channel because I'm focusing on the UK side of things because that's where I'm based, and I have always said that I support all forms of activism, and I've never said anything bad about other people's protests. I think it's great that there are people outside all of the orgs all around the world and stopping people going in. And I have said, for example, that if you are going to protest, you should think about your messaging. If you want to stop people going in, if you say, you're a cult, you believe in Xenu, that's a good message because that stops people going in. But that's not going to help people leave because people who are in Scientology are indoctrinated and just switch off when they hear things like Xenu. So, if you're trying to reach people currently in Scientology, messaging like questions, when was the last time you saw your family, for example, it's a different message for a different purpose. I believe if you're trying to protest tax exemption, protest outside the IRS or HMRC, the UK tax office, or whatever. It's up to people to decide how they want to protest and how they feel the most effective way of doing it is. And I've always said that. I haven't covered much about the LA stuff because there's so many people doing it already. I'm not going to bring much to the table because I'm not in the US anymore. I was only there for 2 weeks. I don't live over there. I don't know the rules and regulations or the laws or how the police work. So I'm not really going to bring much of value to that other than just saying it's great work. And I support everybody that does that. I do things differently when I protest here in the UK, but that's because I've only organised 2 protests and they were for specific events, for the IES event in November and then L. Ron Hubbard's birthday on March 13th. So they were specific targeted events, and the way I organise that would be different to how you organise a protest like these guys do, standing outside an org every single day. It's a different kind of thing, and it's absolutely fine. I think it's great. So yes, I just wanted to correct the record on that people were saying that I have spoken negatively about them. I haven't, and I support everybody. I think that everybody has plays a part, and we're all cogs in a giant machine that all work together, and it's a multi-pronged attack. And anybody that wants to take on this fight and join in and try and help stop the abuse in Scientology, I support, and I think that it's great. And the more multi-pronged, like the more prongs we've got in the attack, the better. So there isn't a right way or wrong way of doing it. You do it how you think is best and how you feel you can play a part most effectively. If you are not able to go and protest in person because maybe you live in a different city and there's no Scientology orgs there, or if you are disabled or simply don't want to go out in person, that's absolutely fine. Commenting and liking videos on YouTube and engaging with live chats on people's channels is also a form of activism, and that helps spread the message out there. So I think that there's all different ways to help in that fight, and I think it's great. So that was the thing I wanted to correct the record on. With regard to people being rude or not, like I said, I can't speak for Mitch. He was there along with a number of other people. Road to Freedom here says Mitch was just asking for some space on the pavement to get the angle for the video shot. He wasn't rude at all. So my take on it when I was there, and you can kind of see, you can't hear everything that I've said, that I was saying, but I approached them. One thing that someone said somewhere was, I didn't even introduce myself. Well, I didn't feel like I needed to, only because, I don't know if you can see it here, but I'm wearing a jumper or a hoodie. You can't really see it here, but this is my name here, behind where it says Confident Chris. It says Apostate Alex on it. So, you know, first thing you see when you see me is my channel name. So I thought it was pretty clear who I am. Whether or not Confident Chris and Solomon know who I am on my channel is, I don't know, and doesn't really matter. But I did say hello, and I complimented them on their streams. I said I watch your streams all the time, and it's great. I asked where the other people were, because there's usually more people out there, and I explained that my phone, I can't remember whether it was my phone ran out of data or ran out of battery, but for some reason my phone wasn't working, so I couldn't live stream, otherwise I would have been. And I explained, oh, I'll come back a bit later and live stream. I've just texted Tori to see if she's going to come down today, and I'll be down a bit later. And Confident Chris says that he's wrapping it up, he's going to be leaving shortly. So at that point I thought, okay, well, if people they're the only two people there right now, and if they're leaving, then I'll just be left on my own. So I didn't go back to protest. So you know, it's not my territory, it's not my country, so it's not my place to be the only one live streaming down there. So that's why I didn't go back. But I thought the conversation was pleasant. We exchanged a couple of words, and it was you know, I wasn't trying to offend or upset anybody, and I apologize if Confident Chris felt that I was rude. You know, if he feels that way, I'm sorry, and you know, I'm happy to speak to you over the phone or video call or do a live stream or whatever, to try and sort it out. If I did come across in that way, it was not my intention at all. With regard to Mitch asking people to move out of the way, my interpretation on the day being there was, we were filming something, we were working on a project together, and we were busy doing this project, we were working on it, and we were there for a mission. We weren't there to protest, we were there to capture some shots on a camera. And so Mitch was just being his director self, and I thought he politely asked them to move to one side, but obviously that's not how it has come across. I at the time didn't think that Mitch was purposefully being rude at all. He was just trying to focus on getting the shot, because we're working here. And then when we carried on and we had a little break a short while later around the corner, I told Chris that it was I told Mitch that it was Confident Chris, and he went, "Oh no, that was Confident Chris. I really wanted to meet him. I want to introduce myself to him. Can we go back?" And we turned the corner, and they had gone at that point. I wasn't watching his stream, so I didn't know whether he was round the corner or a different road, or if he'd left, because he did say that he was leaving fairly soon. So Chris said that he really. Why do I keep, this is what happens when I'm tired, guys. Mitch said that he did really want to introduce himself to Confident Chris, and he was disappointed that he didn't when we were there. So that's our conversation, and he didn't I don't think intend to come across as rude or anything like that, but obviously some people think that he has, and that's something for Mitch to take up with Chris. But we were working on a project, and we were just trying to get it done. And that's what a director does. Directors like move people and tell people what to do. He wasn't the director of this project, but I think it's just so innately built into his nature. But at the time, we didn't, or I didn't hear Chris or anyone react in a way that would make me think that they were upset or felt it was rude or anything. The reaction that I saw was them going, "Oh, okay, yeah, sorry, no problem," and then they stepped to one side. I thought the interaction was quite pleasant in person, but that's just one person's interpretation, and I can't speak for how Chris interpreted it or felt. So as I said, I apologize, Chris, if I came across in the wrong way or I came across as rude. It was certainly not my intention. And I can't apologize for Mitch, but I'm sure he feels the same. Like I said, he does want to introduce himself to you, Chris, if you're watching this. And he did express that kind of disappointment that he didn't get the opportunity to do that. But we had a very tight deadline. We had to get a few things done before the sun went down. We had to get these shots. So we were trying to focus on getting this done first and then hang around afterwards if we had time. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. It was the day before I flew out, so we were very tight up against the line. So yes, that was my interpretation. I'm going to stop rambling about it now. Pecano pluck. What in the royal family is that? Pretty good line. Yes, I thought that was funny too. I heard that at the time, and I tried not to. I tried not to laugh too much about it. Careful, JCYT. It was probably the trolls. The live streamers have a lot of them. Yes, and those trolls, or well, I don't know if they're trolls or not. You know, some people genuinely have feelings and express them online without being a troll. That's fine. But they have extended these comments over to my community page and Instagram and Twitter. So I just wanted to correct the record from my perspective, at least. A. Jansen, it's not friendly to interrupt strangers at their work. Yes, and I think that's also part of it, was that both groups were working. Like Confident Chris and Solomon were working, I suppose, with their live stream, and me, Mitch, and the other people that were there were working, I suppose, on our project. So we were both kind of in each other's way. And I thought in the moment that when Mitch said, "Can you move?" and they moved, they smiled. They're like, "Oh yeah, sure, of course." They didn't come across to me like they were offended. But again, I may have misread it. So Road to Freedom. I think Chris realized your accent, and that's why he said, "What in the royal family is that?" Yes, I think so too. That's why it was funny. I loved it. Okay, cool. So I'm glad we covered that. And Harter, the sun goes down fast in the hills. Yes, it does. But nonetheless, LA is very warm, even at nighttime. And I arrived back in the UK today to rain and grey skies and miserable cold weather. And I said to a couple of friends that if this weather continues, I will be straight back on a plane to LA. I'm joking, but that is the short summary, I suppose, of my trip. And I will go into more depth about this sort of stuff in due course, but I just wanted to get something out there before it ended up being too long before I live streamed. Michael Hickland, I saw you on Confident Chris post live. Yes, that's what we just talked about. Perth Scientology audit. Wow, you got back quickly, Alex. Yeah, I was there for 2 weeks, and now I'm back in the UK. I will be replying to your email. Sorry, I've been pretty bad on that. I'm so behind on emails and general work. I've also been really behind on watching live streams and content on YouTube and reading stuff. So I've literally just not had the time. So I will be catching up. I'm also going to be working over the next couple of days, and I will try and keep up live streams when I can. So guys, if that is it from you guys, I think we will bring it to a close. If you have any more questions for me, leave them in the comments down below. I'll try and answer as many as I can, or email me hello@apostatealex.com. Also, I just want to say thank you to all of the new members and supporters on Buy Me a Coffee. There are different tiers of membership, like the same on YouTube, but on Buy Me a Coffee, you get slightly different perks. And some of the perks, like you get a shout out and a personal video and that sort of thing. So I will be doing those soon when I'm back into my normal routine. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who supported the channel. If you guys want to support me, Buy Me a Coffee is the best way of doing it. Like, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. And check out my blog, Scientologybusiness.com. And there's some exciting updates about East Grinstead Town Council because there was some movement on that while I was in LA. So stay tuned for that. I will see you guys for later on. And as always, I'm not fucking about.